Well, Rich Rod and company are being compared to Indiana, and it's happened multiple times this offseason. But can they really replicate what the Hoosiers did? That's the conversation. Stick around to find out what I think.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia, where we're talking about West Virginia football. Man, we got a commit today. We're going to talk about that in the second segment. You know, certain people think that West Virginia could do their best Indiana impression. We're going to talk about that too. I think, there's a bunch of data out there to look at for those. So it's going to be a fun episode. Before we get there, though, we have to thank the channel sponsor and FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets. When your first $5 bet wins, you can't win if you don't play. You got to go to FanDuel.com to get started. I think we should start here. Cover 3 podcast. Those guys, pretty big podcast, CBS Sports, the whole nine. This is what Tom Fornelli had to say about Rich Rod and West Virginia in the Big 12 this year.
Already familiarity with the coaching staff, with the players, with the playbook, and all that kind of stuff. And I think that when you look at the Big 12, there's so much like opportunity to just win at the margins. And I think that that is one of those margins, that kind of familiarity in this era where there's so much, like you look at Texas Tech, who's bringing in a ton of transfers. Not all of them have any real familiarity with their new coaching staff or any of their new teammates. West Virginia has that familiarity. There's not going to be as much of a transition, which could give them a little bit of a head start. So I look at all that stuff, and I just like Rich Rod as a coach. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence that he's won everywhere he's gone. Now, I know he didn't.
Pretty strong words from Tom Fornelli on his feelings on Rich Rodriguez. And who are we to disagree? But is it true? Is it possible? Well, let's look at the numbers here. I think, obviously, when you look at what they did from in Indiana last year with James Madison, 27 players were brought in. That's it. Not 55 like we have. That's the first important data point. 21 are from Group of 5 or FCS. That is important, including 13 from James Madison, where he was 52-9 previous to Indiana. Pretty nuts. They had a ton of really good players that came in. They had an underdog mentality. I think, Fisher, Kamara, they had to come in from Virginia that had been snubbed by other places like Virginia Tech. So they carried receipts, man, with them all the way to what Indiana was able to accomplish, which was 11-2, college football playoff, the whole nine. Just an amazing season from the Hoosiers, to be honest, and one that they just haven't had in their history. They also went out and got a quarterback in Rourke from Ohio University that was older, proven, kind of fit what Cignetti wanted to do. And I think, overall they had 9 of those guys start. 21 transfers were key contributors that flipped a 3-9 roster into a Big Ten contender with elite discipline and really, Big Ten level competition facilities, the whole thing there too. I think that mattered a little bit, because you get better coaching, better treatment, that whole thing. All right. So you guys know I'm always very upfront with you guys whenever I've had issues. I go for a sleep study here in a couple Days. Just really quick, I want to make this point just in case I'm not able to make it through the stream today. But I'm having real big issues with the sleep right now. Like, it's to the point to where it's ridiculous. I had 2 hours of sleep probably the last 48 hours. Every time I fall asleep, I'm stopping breathing over and over and over and over and over. It's to the point to where it's like chronic. I can't even fall asleep. And it's impacted me a lot as far as anxiety and stuff goes. So I had a really bad one today, once again, for the second time in like 2 weeks. My mom had to come get me at like 7:00 in the morning. It's just been miserable. I go for a sleep study here in a couple days, and hopefully we can get this big problem fixed. Obviously, I know weight loss has a lot to do with it as well. I totally understand that. I'm in a pretty deep hole as far as that goes, but I know it's not undoable. So I'm struggling a little bit right now. So I'm trying to let it. Sometimes it just works its way out of my system, and I'm not trying to be overly hyped up on this episode, just so I can kind of get through it, give you guys the numbers and everything. But if it gets too unbearable, I may have to bounce, which is embarrassing, but I know you guys will understand. All right. Looking what Rich Rod has done, especially, I don't think it's a great comparison when you look at James Madison and Jack State. 52-9 is a lot of winning. A lot. Rich Rod had won a lot at Jack State as well, but not that much. Like that. Some of those James Madison teams were almost playoff teams in their own right. So I think there's, a little bit of a difference between the two programs as far as the level of players that you're getting in. Also, you look at the side, like I said, West Virginia's added over 50 transfers. There's a ton of players, guys, a ton. So I don't know that it really stacks up as far as comparisons go. I do think we have some higher end players that we brought in that they don't have, like Cam Bond, like Joy Robinson, for sure. I also think Rich Rod's a better coach, or at least he's proven to be so far. Cignetti is definitely catching up quick, though. He's definitely catching up quick. Also, I really don't know how to compare the two programs that each guy took over. Indiana was 3-9 and 23, and then they had to do a whole change. But it seems like they kept quite a few guys on that roster, as to where West Virginia had to pretty much replace everybody and was 6-7 the year before. So, and it's never fair to do these kind of comparisons. I get that too, 100%. If you look at the quarterback they had, Rourke had 3,000 yards, 21 touchdowns. I don't know what we're going to get out of our guy this year. Those are pretty good numbers, and that's not including his rushing numbers. So I think at the end of the day, both coaches have bet on underrated transfers who know their systems. I think Cignetti's James Madison pipeline was a bit tighter. Rich Rod's class is definitely broader and a little riskier. 45, 50 transfers, if you can gel them together like 27 from what Indiana did, then, yeah, the dark horse hype is real from Fornelli. But maybe our deeper class could outshine Indiana's, especially if guys like Bogle, Grant, other people that I have talked about actually come on and strong and actually play like I think they can. Then we're talking a different thing here. I just think we need some guys to step up. Obviously, the offensive line, we need 5 guys to come together there. I don't think Indiana had to replace an entire offensive line either. So overall, it was 13 James Madison players. For West Virginia, it's not that many. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. I would say it's probably, let's see, maybe 7 to 9 in there, somewhere like that. Somewhere in that like range. I think it's like 7, closer to 7. You've got Cam Vaughn. You've got, obviously the receivers, which there's 2 of those, or 3 of those. There's 3 receivers, and Cam Vaughn, and the other 2, you've got 2 defensive backs and Fred Perry, and I think you got the tight end. I think it's about 7 guys, 8 guys, something like that. I have to pull up the actual list and look at it. There's so many players to keep track of. I know them by name. It's just I'm struggling right now. Let's see. Just pull it up really quick. All right, so here is the list of players that West Virginia's brought in, and we'll highlight the Jack State kids as we go. Gerard Bowie, Jacob Barrick, Cam Vaughn. You got Fred Perry, Derek Carter. Let's see. We've got that's 5 so far. I know there's more, isn't there? Keep looking here. Let's see. Jordan McCants is 6. Is there not one more? I thought there was one more somewhere. I'm probably overlooking it. So, anyways, even if there's one more, let's say, and there probably is, I'm just overlooking it. I don't know if that's how many of these guys are going to start. Like people keep saying, I think there's just a misconception out here that Rich Rod brought a bunch of Jack State guys with him. He swung and missed on some guys for sure. Now, if you want to count Kiki Tarnu and Xavier Bosley, fine. Then you get the number up to 9, maybe 10. So it's comparable, I guess, at 10. But then they had all those guys that contributed in Indiana. I can't say the same at West Virginia necessarily. I think that you can look and see maybe 3 or 4 of these guys really making a big impact. So it's going to be an interesting thing to watch and keep track of. Overall, I think that West Virginia can experience a level of the success that Indiana did, but 11-2 college football playoff appearance is like almost a pipe dream in year one with 50 transfers, not 27. Like if we had 27, that means that we kept a lot of what we had, which we didn't. So overall, I think if you want to be to put a name on it, I would say I think Barrick's going to be a contributor. Bowie's going to contribute, but I don't think he's going to play a ton. Cam Bond's going to be the number 1 receiver. Possibly, I think he could be one of the best in the league. Same thing with Fred Perry, who we've heard a ton about this offseason. 257 career tackles is nuts. 18 tackles for loss, 10 passes defended, 6 fumbles, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions. He's just got a ton of experience. Derek Carter is probably going to play a lot, if not start. So, there are guys for sure that are going to make impacts. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's a 1-to-1 comparison, obviously, with Indiana at all. It's way too bloated, and we don't have as many guys that I think are going to impact us. So, my opinion. Overall, the verdict for me is, though, I'm going to say it's a no on the Indiana thing. I think that we can get close. I think we can maybe get 7. If we have a great year, maybe 9. Anything outside of that will be outside of my expectations, for sure. For sure. Let's go to break. We'll come back, talk about this new commit we got. Nice kid. They keep on getting these underrated players. We're going to talk about them next. Locked on West Virginia. And this episode of Locked on West Virginia going to be brought to you by FanDuel. We're talking about FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing. And whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game more exciting. All you have to do is follow the action, and why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. We talked about that. So why not open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, guys, we're in segment 2. No due to crack. Staying away from caffeine right now while we're trying to get through this. It's like a simmer, like it's on the verge of spilling over, but it just hasn't. So I just continue to Trying to push through here. So obviously West Virginia got a new commit today. I haven't had a chance to really do a lot with him, break him down or anything. So we'll be watching this together for the first time. Minikin Johnson, which is a pretty insane name. I've never heard that one before. He's got, based on my reading, 6'2", 205, athletic, got some frame to him. He's good off the edge, which I have seen a couple plays. He's got some ball skills and awareness, physicality. I think he's got some developmental potential based on what I've read about him. Let's get to the tape here, and I just think that'd be the best thing to do. Give me just a little break here as I'm trying to push through, man. It's hard, guys. I'm having a hard time, and I'm not I hate it so much. Trust me, this is my career. I take it very seriously. But good Lord, it's just to the point to where I'm starting to wonder, like, when is this going to stop? As of right now, though, like, I'm not like I was this morning where I was hysterical. So, and the thing is like, I know it's going to pass, but unfortunately, like I was talking to somebody the other day while we wait for this to, we'll have to share another screen, but while we wait for this to click down here, shown an ad, all panic disorder is unannounced or uninvited. Your brain is dumping fight or flight chemicals like adrenaline, things like that into your bloodstream for no reason. Like you could be writing or drawing or just name anything that's relaxing, and your brain will think that somebody's chasing you with a knife. That's the response it'll have. Not that somebody is, but or not that you're seeing that, but like that's your brain just is reacting to that for whatever reason. And so when on days where I get worked up like that, it's hard. All right. 6'2", 205. Here he is on the outside. Nice interception. Looks like he's going to take this thing to the house. That's a nice play. Certainly. Love that. Here he is on the edge. Oh, really? Nice way. He jumped right in there and got a tackle for loss. Once again on the edge. And just chases down the quarterback or running back, whichever. Nicely done there. Looks like he's a linebacker here. Interesting. What a play there. All right, here we go. He's outside here, coming off the edge. Nicely done. This kid's a 27 player, so so these are sophomore highlights. Pretty impressive for sophomore highlights. I definitely see what they're looking at, the frame and everything. He's definitely got some quickness, some explosion. Yep. Here he's playing linebacker. Filling gaps, makes a nice hit. Good job there. On the edge over here. Nice play there too. So, overall, guys, I think what I see here is a kid that, has a nice motor, definitely has some physicality to him. He definitely needs to fill out. There's no doubt about that. Definitely needs to put on weight. You see right there, he's got some nastiness to him. Here he is out in the slot covering somebody. Pretty good job. Yeah, absolutely. On the edge here, pass rushing. So he's got a few different abilities and tools that serve him very well. No doubt about it. Yeah, I can definitely see why they've offered him. And look here, he's got some length too. He sheds blocks well. Here he is again on the edge. Once again, just shedding blocks, tough to block. On the edge again. Oh, yeah, nice hit. So there's definitely a lot to like from Minnick and Johnson for sure. Overall, really good player, guys. Somebody that's got a lot of development left ahead of him to do. But I think at the end of the day, he gets there angry. He plays hard and is absolutely one of those kids that I think could make an impact in 27. We're going to break one more time on the other side, guys. Let's put a bow on this one. We'll be right back. All right, guys, this is segment 3, Locked On West Virginia. I'm not going to be able to make it through another segment. I'm barely making it through this. So, and I feel like I don't want to waste anybody's time. I don't want to do a disservice to anybody. This is really embarrassing for me, and uh, you know, try to push through, make myself do things that are uncomfortable, but I just don't feel good. And unfortunately, when these hit, you know, even a mild one like this, it's very uncomfortable to try to do this live. Um, if this continues, I may start to do more pre-recorded content. That way I can just edit around when I'm struggling. We'll have to see what happens for the future, guys. But rest assured, I'm not going to let something like this keep me from posting every day if I can. Maybe I need to take a day off. Maybe that's to that point now. I've been going for months and months without stopping. I don't know. But like the video if you can, please. Share the video out if you can. Subscribe if you're new around here. We're giving a $50 give, cash away to the 5,000 subscriber. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team every single day. If you could do me a favor, definitely check out the portal over on YouTube. Brian Smith does an awesome job over there as well, and he is the guy to watch. Until then, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great week.